I'm Shannon Deems, principal of Gilbert Heights Elementary.
What are you most excited about this year?
As a new administrator and new to David Douglas, I think the biggest thing is building the relationships, and that's with my staff, that's with my families, and of course with the students.
How do you encompass equity as a leader?
I think the biggest thing as an educational leader would be modeling, right? And a big component of that for me would be being open and vulnerable in my own equity journey. There's going to be times where I say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, but providing that opportunity for staff to see that and the continued growth that comes with that, I think is really important for a school to be successful. And it provides a safe opportunity for the courageous conversations that need to come with that. The other piece is shared leadership opportunities. So something I've always held firm in education is that there's room for everyone to have a voice and be a part of the decision-making process. And finally, who are our stakeholders and do they have a spot at the table? So of course, staff and our families, but also our students. Are they a part of the decision-making process? And that's where I stand.
How do you include the David Douglas School District equity lens when making building-wide decisions?
I think the biggest takeaway with the equity lens is that it's a living document. It's not something that we refer to once and say, that was beautiful, let's tuck it away on a shelf. It's something that we have right next to our committee norms when we meet, and we refer to that when we're making decisions. I want our staff to be comfortable with it and be able to refer to it and know the language and components of the equity lens. So I think just ensuring that it is visible in our learning spaces and decision-making process is crucial.
What does a racially affirming school environment look like?
I think that's an ongoing task, right? When I think of the environment, is it reflective of our students and is it representative of them and their identities? Our instruction, right? Is it rich and does it enrich the identity and affirm the identity of all of our learners, as well as our staff? And the biggest piece for me would be our students, and are they able to express feelings of belonging and safety in their school environment? And if the answer isn't what we want to hear, how are we going to respond to that and do better by our students?
What is your equity stance?
All students are deserving and entitled to a rigorous and rich education that embraces their identity. And I would take it a step further and make sure that we're inclusive of staff in that conversation. Is this workplace a representative part of their world? Have we ensured that we're cultivating a climate that folks want to be a part of and that we're doing the good work for our community?
How will you use data to ensure equitable outcomes for students?
I think a big piece of this is actually using the data, right? We just finished the Youth Truth survey with our families, and they shared the 4 Ds, which really resonated with me. When we're looking at data, are we being defensive, dejected, dismissive, or do we downplay the negative? And I think once we can look at that and let that be a part of the conversation and move forward to really looking at the data, letting it speak to us, and what are the actionable items that we can take from this. The data sometimes hurts to look at, but that's really important too. 2 components of data that we're looking at this year at Gilbert Heights has been our discipline data. Historically, we have overrepresented boys of color in our discipline data, and so how can we look at our practices and change those? The other piece that we've really looked at, and the Youth Truth Survey has helped with that, is our connection with our community, our families. We want to ensure that there's a rich feedback loop with our families, and we're meeting them where they are and really working alongside them to ensure that they have a voice in their children's education here at Gilbert Heights. And so those are 2 pieces that we've prioritized data as a decision maker.
What equity practices do you hope to see in every classroom?
David Douglas has done a great job focusing on culturally responsive teaching, and our teachers have taken a lot from that. I think having classroom environments that are reflective of our students and a place where our students are engaged and active in their learning. They are stakeholders, they feel represented in our environment, and we are ensuring that they are a part of the conversation of how we want our classrooms to look. What are our expectations for our learners? How do we meet that need? Do we need a classroom constitution to ensure that everyone feels, valued and safe and respected in this space? So those are all things that I would look for in entering a classroom.
As you self-reflect on your spring and summer hiring practices, share your efforts and outcomes to diversify your school building for both classified and certified positions.
Yeah, as a new administrator, this of course is on the forefront of my mind. When I was looking at our numbers, we were able to hire 68% of our staff who identify as Black, Indigenous, or people of color, which is something to celebrate. And I think what's a bigger joy even than that is many of the folks we hired are a part of our community. They're parents, they're neighbors, they're community members who are really invested in Gilbert Heights, which is so exciting to me. And then being able to share the opportunity of our district's Grow Your Own program so that they are able to maybe look at becoming teacher leaders themselves has been crucial for our success, and I look forward to continuing that work. I am Shannon Deems, principal at Gilbert Heights, and I believe in equity.